Day 1 of the trip, we hop onto US 53 South in Virginia as we make our way down to the Iron Range, the former Duluth, Mesabi, and Iron Range Railway. We'd spend around 4 days in the area, centered around 3 of the lines. This includes the Mesabi subdivision, running from Proctor Yard in Duluth up to Iron Junction and the mines. Then there's the Iron Range subdivision, running from Iron Junction to Two Harbors. Finally, there's the Rainy subdivision, the former Duluth, Winnipeg, and Pacific Railway, running from Ontario, Canada down into Duluth and Superior and points south, where it becomes the former Wisconsin Central through Wisconsin. The area, known for its bustling iron ore, is where CN has displaced a lot of their older locomotives. SD40s and C40-8s are the powerhouses of this territory. This was the main reason why we embarked on this journey. Canadian National is the last Class 1 railroad that runs a large amount of the standard cab C40-8 locomotives. CN has already been scrapping some of the other -8 series locomotives. C40-8Ws and C40-8Ms have already met the torch over the last few months, and it'll be a matter of time before the standard cabs meet the same fate. CN has been rebuilding some -9 locomotives into AC44 C6Ms. Once these locomotives are equipped with straight air, they'll head up to the Iron Range and replace the -8s and EMDs. While the EMDs are more than likely to be relocated across the CN system, the -8s are not going to have the same fate. They will more than likely be retired from the CN system and either scrapped or sold off to other companies. The old 1940s ore hoppers are also expected to be replaced within the next few years. The trains run loaded from the mines down to the docks in Duluth and Two Harbors. The pellets are loaded onto ships, then the trains return to the mines and the cycle repeats. The territory also sees a lot of run-through trains, running to and from Canada. These trains mainly take the Rainy subdivision, but there are also quite a few on the Mesabi subdivision as well. We arrived at Town Line Road in Forbes to see a signal for a northbound, followed by a K3LA horn coming from the south. We got into our positions and had our first train of the trip, a northbound T-Bird with a pair of C40-8s, including 2107 trailing a 15th anniversary. T-Birds are the nickname for the trains that run between Forbes and Thunderbird mines. CN typically runs a pair of these trains throughout the day, and for our stay they would have pairs of C40-8s, all of which were 2100 series, including the last 2 active 15th anniversary -8s. Once the train cleared, we tried to chase it north, but we went to the wrong spot.
Look at these tracks. Joke. We could.
We relocated to Forbes Y, where we were hoping a train would show up. There were a lot of iron pellets on the ground, as they commonly fall out of the hoppers. We waited a bit until we noticed something we weren't expecting: work trucks heading south on the Mesabi sub. This was not a good sign, and would foreshadow what was to come for pretty much our entire trip. We moved to a crossing on the Rainy subdivision, as we saw there was a train lined from the south. We waited a bit until we noticed a train on the Iron Range subdivision coming from Two Harbors, so we decided to relocate once again to Ramshaw Diamond in order to catch both trains. Ramshaw Diamond is where the Rainy subdivision and the Iron Range subdivision cross one another. We waited a little bit until the headlight of the northbound on the Rainy subdivision popped up in the distance. It looked as if this train was going to pass by first, however the empty ore train got lineage over the diamond, so the train was forced to stop before the crossing. We then turn our attention to the Iron Range subdivision. Here comes the empty ore train from Two Harbors as it crosses Ramshaw Diamond with a trio of C40-8 locomotives. These Dash 8 locomotives were built for the Chicago and Northwestern in the late 80s and early 90s. They were then acquired by Union Pacific in the 1995 merger of the Chicago and Northwestern, then later sold to the CREX leasing company. Eventually, CN would buy these locomotives and use them in service. Most of them would end up on the Iron Range, as in the case of this trip. These wouldn't be the only former CREX locomotives we'd see on the trip, however. More on that later. With the ore train out of the block, the northbound sand train is lined across Ramshaw Diamond. Trailing second on the train was a former CREX ES44AC. CN bought a hefty amount of these locomotives, and they can be commonly seen across the system, still wearing their CREX paint patched for CN. Bringing up the rear as their DPU was another former CREX ES44AC. After that cleared, all three lines went quiet for some time, so we decided to break off for lunch.
Why there are always delays, and why they're not in the siding to hold for the guy that's literally 10 miles south of them.
Thank you. I got 2 Pepsis and a Sierra Mist, and I'll be right back with the other Pepsi and water.
Thank you.
We ate at the Pizza Hut in Virginia, right by the Rainey subdivision. Here's a manifest that just happened to be flying by as we were there. After we finished our meal, it was right back to the Iron Range subdivision. We went to the curve in Ramshaw, just down the line from Ramshaw Diamond. A loaded ore train was making its way towards Two Harbors with another trio of C40-8 locomotives. As the train slowly started to get to speed, we got back in the cars to pursue it.
Liam, catch it as you're going.
As Neo and Andy drove to the end of the road, Liam and I decided we'd pace the train along this stretch. Following rather close behind was the miscellaneous road freight, commonly referred to as MRF. The power is usually 2 Jeeps, in today's case was an IC GP40R and an IC GP38-2. Although these are still Illinois Central locomotives, they were the standard CN scheme. After that, we made our way back to Ramshaw Diamond as we had a northbound line on the Rainey subdivision. This was a manifest train heading for Canada, led by 2 C44-9Ws. We made our way back to the crossing along the curve in Ramshaw to catch another empty ore train as it was heading back from Two Harbors. Unlike the other Iron Range sub-trains we saw, which had trios of C40-8s, this one had two C40-8s and an Illinois Central ST40-2, now wearing the standard CN scheme. Once the train cleared the crossing, we chased it up to Wolf. And after that, we were back on the road yet again to a crossing just north of Ramshaw Diamond on the Rainey subdivision. We were after a northbound sand train, but unfortunately we just missed the head end. We still decided to stay for the whole train, and got some shots of the DPU shoving the train north. And once that cleared, we were back on the road yet again. We went back to the spot where we shot the IC Jeeps earlier as they were making their way back to Keenan. From there, it was back to Ramshaw Diamond to shoot a northbound intermodal on the Rainey subdivision. This train had yet another ex City Rail ES44AC. They were starting to get plentiful at this point. Next up was another loaded ore train making its way to Two Harbors. This was the same concept from earlier in the day. And after that, we made our way back to Wolf for the final train of the day, another T-Bird with 2 C40-8s, including 2112, a 15th anniversary. And with that, day 1 of the Iron Range was over. What an incredible start to the trip. Stay tuned for the rest of the series as there is a lot more to follow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you down the line.